Dr. King was here, would he be walking with the 1%?
No.
I'm just checking. I like that.
We're marching tomorrow to stop foreclosures and evictions. We'd love to have you join us.
What's going on with this foreclosure situation?
What's that?
Explain what's going on with the foreclosure situation.
Well, there were all those predatory loans, you know, predatory lending, and now people can't pay their mortgages, and the banks are taking them back so they can sit empty. Meanwhile, we have increased homeless people. It's ridiculous.
You know, how come those that are in positions of power don't seem to understand that? What's going on that they don't realize that a lot of their constituents are actually facing foreclosure?
That's a very good question. We need more people to get out in the streets so they can no longer ignore the issue.
What about those who say, like the Herman Cains of the world, that say blame yourself? Where does that attitude come from?
Well, that's just a tactic. It's like, yeah, the American dream's still alive. You just need to work harder. Just pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But that's a joke. It's an absolute joke. It's not. People are not in this position because they don't work hard enough. And the billionaires are not in their position because they work any harder than you or I.
There you go. So we're going to be trying to stop foreclosures. And you all have been doing this before there was an Occupy. You know, people have been out here dealing with the banks for a few years now. This is not an overnight thing.
Right.
Do you think that now there's an Occupy movement that more pressure's been put on, or are the banks trying to make an example by taking a stand no matter what?
That's a good question. I hope that it's the former. I hope that people are starting to come out. Again, everybody, if not directly affected, now they know somebody. They got a friend or a family member, someone who's been directly affected. So people that were able to stay in their little bubble, you know, I'm good. I got my house. I got my car. You know, I'm safe.
They thought they were 1%ers.
Yeah,
exactly. Then they got their foreclosure notice and realized they're part of the 99.
There you go. Anyway, get out on the streets, because the only way that we can affect change is to be visible and to demand it. So
we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How you doing, man?
Good, man.
What are you out here today for, man?
Well, we're with the National Alliance for Filipino Concerns. We're just assuring that our voice is also heard. The immigrant community voice is also heard in the 99% movement. We won't need to project that. You know, our communities are also facing foreclosure, also facing joblessness, exploitation, all that. And so we're here in unity and solidarity with everybody, not just here in the Bay Area, not just in the United States, but in the world.
You know, sometimes they say that people of color haven't been involved, but I see a lot of y'all out here.
Yeah.
How important is it for the Filipino community to be represented?
It's very important. You know, in my neighborhood, in the Excelsior District, we have the highest percentage of foreclosures in the country. So, you know, it's very important. We have high unemployment rates, like everything I talked about before. So it's extremely important that our voices is heard and that we build solidarity with all the immigrant communities, all the communities of color, all working class communities. You know what I mean?
Well, that's real talk, man. We appreciate it.
Right on.
All right. What's your name again, man?
Know me from NAFCON, National Alliance for Filipino Concerns.
There you go.
Hey, are you Davey D?
Yes, I am. How you doing?
I love your show.
Thank you.
Great. I'm a public health nurse. I drive around the city. I visit people who are in bad shape, and I listen to you and you inspire me.
I appreciate that. You know, you work in the public health sector.
Yeah.
How bad is this economy hit them? Because when you talk to some people, they're saying, well, they can just go to the emergency room and no doctor will turn them down. And so therefore we're making a whole big to-do about nothing.
No, there's huge waits in the emergency room, and doctors and nurses were overwhelmed with need. I mean, ideally everyone would get in to see a doctor and prevent disease. And the problem is there's waiting lists. People pay money for Healthy San Francisco and then don't get an appointment. It's better than nothing, but there's huge gaps.
That's real talk there.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you would want people that are watching or listening to do?
What do I want them to do?
Yeah, ideally, right now, those who've been on the sidelines, what would you like them to do?
I want them to get in the street and participate, because we've got a great message, which the problem is the corporations, the problem is the super rich. We are working people who are trying to get what we deserve. I mean, I've been serving poor people in San Francisco for almost 30 years. They've always been in this state, believe me. Now they're in a worse state, But
They were
now,
occupying before there was an Occupy movement.
yeah. I mean, as a union member, we've been occupying for 25 years.
That's true.
But we haven't had the numbers to make a difference. And now it's a hugely historic moment because we have the numbers to really, really make a difference.
Well, I've seen the thousands of you all out here today.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
All right, peace.
Okay, bye.
So basically what you've seen out here today is, you know, a few hundred, maybe a couple of thousand. It depends on which part of the march you are looking at. Marching, it looks like from the Mission down to the Occupy San Francisco site. And of course, this is done very often to remind people exactly how dire the economic situation is, to remind people that there is a 1% that is really impacting our lives at all levels, and that all of us at any given moment could be impacted by economic policies and what I call tyranny if they're not careful. So this is what was happening today. People were talking about, they were out here marching in San Francisco, reminding folks that there's going to be actions over the next few days on dealing with the banks that have been on a rampage trying to foreclose on a lot of people who aren't able to make their mortgage by no fault of their own. They didn't ask to be laid off. They didn't ask to be laid off when there's no jobs. So somebody has got to help make the sacrifice. Many of us have made the sacrifice. Maybe the 1% should be making the sacrifice themselves.
Yeah.
We out. Peace.